There we are. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the 5 keys to how we hit the 2 Common Club, which is $1 million in our coaching business in just 12 months. Today, we're going to be sharing with you the 5 keys that I learned and I picked up with my team as I keep growing on the journey to 7 figures. And so if you're new to Facebook right now, by the way, welcome. Well, not to Facebook, but to my Facebook group. Welcome to the community of high ticket coaching community. And if you guys are on YouTube, then what's going on, guys? Welcome back to ClearTalk. This is the #1 show for coaches who want to scale their business, develop leadership like nothing else, like no one else, and pretty much scale their message out there and make a difference. So the big question is, how did coaches like myself and my team, how do we go when we started with nothing and we risked everything on the line to build a business around helping other people? How do we get out there and get clients? How do we get our message across in the marketplace? And how do we build a brand that we're proud of and that's about leadership and helping people's lives change while making a big profit and a big difference? That's the big question. This show will give you the answer. We go live every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern time inside the High Ticket Coaching Community Facebook group. And if you're on YouTube right now, then if you love this content, hit that subscribe button, hit that little notification bell so you can get notified every time we drop new videos. If you're on Facebook, then say, hey, what's up in the chat below. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. You could hashtag live right now if you're live, hashtag replay if you're a replay. And let me know what city you're tuning in from. I always love knowing where everyone's from. So I want to bring somebody else. 100%. What's up, Mario? How's it going? We got a few people on right now. I want you to drop down in the comments below where you're tuning in from. I'm going to keep my eye on the prize here so I can make sure I know all the comments that are coming in. So I'm going to bring this up right here. What's up, Daniel? What's up, my brother? I'm going to cover the 5 keys today of what pretty much helped us get to 2 Common Club. Now, if you guys don't know what 2 Common Club is, it was created by Russell Brunson and his company Clickfunnels. And so when I started my coaching business, I learned a lot about ClickFunnels. I mean, like 5-6 years ago, I learned about ClickFunnels. And they have this award, this kind of club, this challenge, which is if you can do $1 million USD in cash collected in your business online with 1 funnel, then you get to join this thing called 2 Common Club, which is 2 commons and $1 million. And then there's also 2 Common Club X, which is $10 million. And there's a 2 Common Club X, I believe, something like that, which is like $25 million. And so they've created this really cool culture where people, business owners from around the world, aim to that million or 10 million or 25 million as a game, right? And so you win this award. And so they're shipping out our plaque right now. And I just want to share some cool things about that and see if anyone else could get some value from this so they can help it with your journey to 7 figures. Bomal, what's going on all the way from India? What's up, everybody? Hey, Lauren. Marielle's from Slovenia, and so happy to be in the company here. Yeah, awesome, cool. So if you're live right now, let us know where you're from. I'd love to know where you're from, and get ready for a really good training. So I'm just pulling up my notes here to make sure I cover everything with you guys. Give me a second, guys. All right, let's rock and roll. So I'm going to go over the 5 keys, pretty much what I learned in the journey to 7 figures that helped me kind of hit that goal. And also I'm going to tell the story of like why it's so important to us and what's the sentiment behind this 2 Common Club, because the money is like the least important part of it. I'll tell you guys that right now. It's not even about the money. And so I'm going to keep my phone right here so I can see if you guys have comments. So here's the crazy story. 2 years ago, I remember I was doing my seminars. We made our first $1 million just selling seminars and all that. And I did that over a 3-year span. So, we accumulated money over time. But really I was living my dream. I'm like, I want to be like Tony Robbins. So I was going to like Malaysia and Thailand and places in Canada and in America. And I was doing all these seminars and I was teaching from stage. I loved it. I fell in love, but the business model didn't really make sense. Like I couldn't serve millions of people. I wouldn't be able to scale that kind of a business model. It was really tough, but I was in love with what I was doing. And I made just enough to kind of get by. Like I didn't even pay myself a lot. Like I probably lived on less than what minimum wage people would work on. It's crazy, right? Because I'm traveling, I'm doing all these things, but my business model didn't allow a lot of profit. And so that at the end of that third year, I realized I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people out there doing way less work than me, making a lot more money. And because of that, they're able to help more people. I'm like, I got to change something here. So I started to notice all these people online making all this money. And I'm like, man, if I had this money, I would make a big difference in the world. And so I'm like, okay, I got to go online. And we had this really hard meeting with my team. And I'm like, guys, we're stopping seminars. And they're like, no, we can't do that. That's everything. And I was running two specific forms of seminars. One was for public speaking confidence and how to speak on stage. The other one was a breakthrough seminar, which I help people with depression and suicide and all the crazy stuff. And just really deciding what they want in their life and all that. And so my team and I, they were like freaking out, like, no, we can't do this. I'm like, trust me, if we can focus just online and we can go online, we can build a business online, then we'll have this wider audience, this bigger audience, we'll have way more money, and we'll be able to take that and create bigger seminars in the future. But we gotta focus. I'm not gonna do two things at one time. I'm gonna do one thing at a time. And so we decided it was a hard decision, but we all decided that we're gonna focus on going online. Now it was a terrible off the bat process. For the first 3 months of that decision, we put in tens of thousands of dollars trying to create an online course, a webinar funnel, all this stuff, and all tanked. After 3 months, it like literally tanked. I think I made like 2 or 3,000 in sales, was in debt, and I'm like, man, this doesn't work. And it's because I try to do it alone. Like honestly, I try to funnel hack everything and look at things and just try to figure it out on my own. I didn't want to spend money with my ego. I didn't want to have someone teach me. I'm like, no, I can figure this out. 3 months passed by, it sucked. Then at the end of the 3 months, I was so embarrassed from the failure personally. Like I didn't tell that to anyone, but I was so personally embarrassed from the failure. I felt like an idiot because I'm like, man, I'm a smart guy. I built this seminar business. I should be able to figure out this whole webinar thing, and I couldn't. And so my pride was getting in the way. And the problem was for me, I didn't know how to digest that, and I also didn't know what to do because my ego wasn't letting me hire people or buy programs because I don't want to be that person to learn from somebody. And so I went on for a couple more months and I just started to get into indecision and paralysis and just depression started to happen it creeped up without me noticing. And then even though and then a couple months after I bought a program and I started to learn a lot of what I didn't know. And I bought a lot of programs and I'm like, okay, I didn't know what I was doing at all. I didn't know what the hell I was doing with my coaching business. And even with the knowledge of knowing what I was doing wrong, and now I have this whole new dilemma where I'm like, man, I just put 3 months of work into something that I did completely wrong. And I'm so afraid of doing this again and putting in all this effort and time because I almost like burned myself out. Like I was doing all-nighters trying to build webinar slides. It was really tough. And I'm like, man, I don't want to go through that again. Even though I have this help, I'm like, what if I fail? So this fear of failure started to creep up on me. And then this fear and then indecision creeped up and the paralysis creeped up. Then I started doubting everything. And then I just went into a downward spiral, 5 months of depression. Some of you may know my story from some of the posts I've made, but I'm just telling you now in person before I tell you the 5 keys to what help us hit 7 figures. But in that time, I was so afraid of trying again and knowing I have to start from scratch, even though I built the other things from scratch and everything I built, I had to throw out. It was so tough for me. So I just procrastinated on it. And that ended up to months until I started to have no money coming in my bank account because I wasn't running seminars anymore. So I was making very little money from receivables. It was like I was becoming scarce. Poverty started to kick into my mind. I was freaking out about like, what if I do the wrong thing? My team, I started pushing them away. I broke up with the girlfriend I was at the time. I was really pushing everything away. And I found myself at this point where I'm like hopeless. And tomorrow seemed like a worse day than today. So that's what depression is the definition of. So if tomorrow's worse, today's bad already, but tomorrow's gonna be worse. And in the midst of all of this, I got really afraid because I thought, what if I lose everything I built? So I was thinking about, shutting down my company. I was thinking about like just starting from scratch, like everything, even the seminar stuff I built. I'm like, let me just scrap it. And luckily I had a few mentors that were very close to me at the time that I talked to. And one of them made me realize I was just getting very complacent. I was miserably comfortable and I wasn't having enough pain to change. I didn't agree with him at the time, but now I look back and I'm like, yeah, he's right. Because I had a little bit of money saved up in my account. I was living off of it. And to me, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But I wasn't afraid enough to make some serious change, have a massive action. The other one made me realize that I was trying to do something out of my strength zone. So he's like, why are you building an online course, man? You're a speaker, you're a coach. You should be in front of the company. You should be with the clients at all times. That's where you're going to thrive the most. So I'm like, man, I never thought about that. I was so busy trying to build this passive course business where I can just make all this money every day without doing anything. And I was sold on that idea. They didn't consider that that's not even what makes me happy. That's not even what my strength is. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna build a coaching business online, not a course business, which is a very different business model. Instead of trying to run ads to a funnel all the time to just sell this $1,000 or $2,000 course, I'm like, let me build a program where I get to talk to people, speak with people, coach them every week, but I run them through a program that's for 5 or 10 or 25 grand, and I work with them actually hands on. So that's what I ended up doing. I made this decision to change my life, to turn it around, not just in business, but also in my health and my mindset, everything. And so in the beginning of 2020, I had one event left that I had to fulfill on because I had taken money for it. And that was in March, but I was exactly right when COVID happened. So as I'm trying to build this online business, COVID hit. So it was like a perfect timing. I had a head start to kind of get through all the junk of like trial and error. And we ended up refunding half the people at that seminar. Some of them are still waiting. We're going to do the seminar soon. But we ended up not doing that seminar. And so I had all this time now, and I'm like, okay, perfect. Let's work just on the business and no more, just on the online business, no more seminars. So I just went hard into it. And the first 6 months of January, of 2020, we made maybe the first like 3 months, we made like 5 grand because I did a beta launch. I sold it for like a really cheap price, the same program I sell now, for 4, 5, and 6 figures, some of them. Maybe an offer at every level. That I sold for like $300 at the first time. And we had like 9 or was it 11 people that signed up. And so I had all this quick amount of influx of cash coming. I'm like, oh wait, this works. So let's keep going. So then we started building out our funnel, our webinar, everything. And we launched in June of 2020, which is roughly about a year ago now. Now it's 14. We're in the 14th month anniversary of that. In our first month running ads to a funnel, we hit $34,000 in sales. We booked like 8 calls. I closed 6 of them. They all paid in full. And I'm like, holy crap, this is going to be it. We're going to scale. This is it. Okay. We're like, I'm going to be rich. We're going to grow this company. We're going to hit 30 grand a day. The next month we hit 0 in sales. So I'm trying to give you guys some context. It's never butterflies and rainbows. It's not like this. It's really like this. It really is. Like that picture you see, this is what success looks like, because it just challenges you, it bends you, it molds you, it requires you to grow yourself on a degree that most people are not willing to grow to actually achieve this 7-figure, not even 6 figures. 6 figures is easy. You're making 100 grand in sales. That's literally like 10 or 20 clients, depending on your price point. But to build a 7-figure business, you have to have 10 times that amount of volume. You have to have team in place. You have to have systems. It takes a different level of person to do that. But I love it. Jim Rohn says, don't set a goal to make $1 million. Set a goal to become a millionaire. The difference is if you have $1 million in your bank account, it doesn't make you a millionaire. But if you set a goal that requires you to grow so much and so wide, then what will happen is you will become a millionaire, meaning your mindset, your attitude, your character will grow into a person that could hold $1 million with the responsibility. A lot of people want $1 million or 2 million or 3 or 5 or 10, but they're not willing to actually take on the responsibilities of that level of business. It's like sometimes we are wishful thinkers. And I remember I was a wishful thinker for a long time. Since I was 17 years old, which is now 8 years now, I'm 25 today. Since I was 17 years old, I promised myself I'm going to be a millionaire by 25, which is pretty crazy because now I'm 25 and I did it. I wish I would have said earlier that I would have maybe hit it earlier, but I said by 25 and here we are. Law of attraction works pretty precisely. If I would have said by 20, maybe in 3 years, from 17, I would have hit it. See, sometimes it's like you learn something every step of the way. Even now, I'm like, I could have done this faster if I had set my mind to it faster without the fear of failing at it and just took massive action. But I've been telling myself this since 8 years now, I want to be a millionaire. But see, I never, until last year, I really didn't comprehend what the responsibility of $1 million business is. And now we do way more than $1 million. We're probably going to touch 3 million this year alone. It's our first 12 months, it's our real first fiscal year into the online business world. We're doing 3 million, which is pretty inspiring to me just thinking about it, because I worked so hard to get here. My seminar business did 1/6 of that over 3 years, and 1/3 of that over 3 years, and it wasn't even this like good, the business. So we learn every step of the way. But let me tell you something. First month we had 34 grand, and the second month we had 0. Okay. The next month I struggled and I got 2 sales and we did about 12 grand. Then I struggled a bit more and we did about 24 grand the next month. So in September of 2020, and one person refunded and they became, God bless that person's soul, but they became a nightmare for me and my company. Just miscommunication, literally nothing else. And so I really actually made 16 or 18,000 that month. And so I was really struggling to like keep up because I had way more expenses than just 10 or 20 grand. Like I had an office, I had people I had to pay, I had myself I had to pay. So I'm like I hit this big month and I got this unrealistic like projection of my month or my company now, and I'm like, this is gonna be great. And then everything went to shit after. It's like bad, bad, bad. Okay. Then I got COVID at the end of September. Then I got COVID. Okay. And now I'm like, man, I'm dealing with this refund issue. I'm not making sales. My money's burning out on the ads. Okay. So I wasn't making enough money. I wasn't getting enough book calls from the ad to the webinar funnel. It was working, but it was like really wonky. And I was good at it. So it was like beyond my control. It was just the market and the platform and all this. And I hit COVID and now I'm like knocked out. We're not making sales, but money's just burning on our ads every day. We're spending like $100, $200 a day then. I was freaking out. And October comes and I get better from COVID. I got over it. And I'm like, man, how am I going to make some money this month? Like I can't run more ads to this funnel. So I have to figure something out. And I started to think about organic. And we did organic. And within we get our biggest week and our biggest day. We had a $10,000 day and a $20,000 week. I'm like, this is amazing. Okay, we got to do more organic. And then once I got that money, I put it back into ads, and our ads started kicking back, and we did another $38,000 in sales. So we did 58 grand. I hit my first $50,000 a month after getting COVID and after having 3 months of a streak of shitty results. So you guys got to have persistence and faith is what I'm talking about. We're going to talk about the 5 keys in a second. I just want to tell you the story of how we got it. And what I want to let you know is like some of you guys, some people are in business and they're hoping things will be easier, but you got to stop wishing things will get easier and start wishing that you get better. Okay. Because most people want to last 3 months back to back consecutive bad results, which is what I was having. And after having a great result, like most people quit, most people would change the direction. Most people stop doing the thing they're doing. But I said, no, we got to keep going. This is the way we got to do it. And our 4th month after that, 30,000 a month, or 5 months into the launch, we did 58,000 a month. Then I'm like, man, I'm underestimating organic. So I focused more on organic, and then I created a back end lead offer, and we hit $106,000 in sales. At this point, I'm like, okay, organic is important, a lead is important, and driving more traffic to my core offer is important. So I'm like, okay, let me upgrade my offer. So I spent all of January and all of December and January just working on modules and trainings for my clients, because I want my clients to get really better results too. And so in those months, we just had lower months, like 30 or 20, 25 grand, 35 grand, something like that. And I was okay with it because we had these big months. So then I finished up the program and I upgraded everything. Then I started going into it again in February of this year. We did another 80,000. We did 80,000 in sales, and it came mostly organically. So now I hired this ad agency. They're doing a terrible job for me. And I do the organic stuff, and that's doing so easily bringing me in clients. I doubled my prices. I'm like, man, this, I got to do more of this. So we had our highest cash collected month. Even though we had a 100K month, we didn't even collect as much as what I collected in the 80,000 month. So I'm like, this is great. So in March came around, we started the month of March really well. We started with like 50 or 40 or 50 or 60 grand. And I did a post about like doing 50 grand in like 9 days or something. And we did through that funnel. But I was combining organic. Yeah, Lauren, good times. And Bimal, love you, brother. If you're watching, by the way, and you think it's just fire, drop some fire emojis in the chat. And if you have questions, let me know. Just put in the comments below. So we start off the weekend in March real well. And then it just for 3 weeks just went like no sales came in. So I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And my agency was getting us barely any results. And I was paying these guys a lot, like, it wasn't a lot of money, but I mean, well, it's relative. But I was spending a lot of money on ads. So these guys are the best agency in the world. I'm nothing against agencies. My personal experience has been that they haven't worked well. I have one right now for Instagram, and the guy is a rock star. I endorse him. But everybody else, like, I don't know. I found myself ending up having to train the person they signed to me for media buying. Now, not that against them again, they were good people. They're just results didn't come in, and that's just a fact. I don't know what else to say about that. So these guys supposed to be bringing me calls every week, right? Like 20 calls a week. And I'm like, we're going to scale real quickly. And I started focusing on other things like building up the brand and all that. And March was a slow month. Like we had 50 grand, we stopped, 56 grand, and we stopped. A week before the end of March, I'm like, man, this is terrible. Like I just bought a bunch of new masterminds and programs. I'm like, 56 grand, like we don't have enough money for me to pay this stuff off. I need to make more money again because I'm reinvesting into myself and into the business. While I'm there, there's 7 days left to the month. And I'm like, you know what? Instead of me just making, because I need like maybe 30 or 40 grand more to pay off things that I just bought, because I bought all these expensive masterminds. Like you guys don't reinvest the money you make into like more programs or higher level stuff. You really don't understand the value and the power of investing in yourself and in your business. I would never go and buy real estate with that. Like I would put 50 grand back in myself. because I know I can turn that money around 5 to 10x fold with like 100% guarantee, because I'm the one in charge of doing that, right? So I can take what I learn and make more of it. So long story short, 7 days into the end of the month, I'm like, I need 30 or 40 grand to break even with what I just bought. But I'm like, screw that. I'm going to stretch myself. Why can't I hit a $200,000 a month? Why not? I already hit 100 last year. So I'm like, why can't I do 200? And it's like, I really pushed myself. I'm like, I had 7 days left. I'm like, you know what? If Napoleon says whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe he can achieve, then it's true. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to prove to myself that I can hit 200 grand in 7 days. Let's do it. I only need 150,000 more anyways, and I had 200. So I put my mind to it, and I started to read my goal out loud every single day in the morning. I started to visualize it very heavily. I even had an imaginary mastermind at one point with Napoleon Hill in my head, where I was asking him for advice and all this stuff. And so what happened was, within 2 days of the 7 days, so 5 days left to the month of March, the idea hit me on how I'm going to hit it. And I came through such a coincidence. And this is how the sixth sense works. It's how Napoleon Hill thinking courage works. I was like, man, we got to hit this many sales to hit it. But then I posted something, and one of my clients responded to me saying that they wanted something from me about this. And I realized, I'm like, wait, why don't I just do this? And within 2 days from there, so now 3 days left to the end of the month, I had about 10 people applying for an elite offer of mine. And we started signing up people. And so within the last 5 days of March, I closed another $150,000. It was roughly like it was 125, I believe, actually. 100 and no, it was like 130, 40 something. I don't know. I just remember the total of the month ended at $199,800. And I'm like, man, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Honestly, it's not just a bullshit statement. It's not a quote. It's a fact. It is a law. It's like, but the key is you believe it, you have faith. So we hit 199,000 within 5 days. Now imagine what my brain's doing. It's like, why am I aiming so low every month? In 5 days, if I did this, why can't I do that? Why can't I do $1 million a month? Because if I have 30 days. So the next 2 months, again, we did all this money, and we had all these amazing new people I was starting to work with. It was great. I created a whole new level of an offer, and it was amazing. And I started getting really good at what I was doing. And I started to realize organic is very important. So instead of just teaching people how to build webinars and run ads, I'm like, let me add an organic. So that's what I did. And then I started helping a lot of my clients hit that 7-figure mark themselves, scaling to $100,000, $200,000 in a month within 30 to 60 days using organic. It's something we call hyper organic. I combined what I learned from the webinar world, which is ads and funnels and all that. I combined that with an organic strategy with a Facebook group. And we created this thing called hyper organic marketing. And I'm the inventor. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm the inventor. These are all compilations of ideas from other places that I put together in a very streamlined fashion. There's other things called hyper organic, where I think you boost posts, and then you like comment back to people on those posts. Like, that's a cool idea too. I've never done it. I know what would be more relevant is me calling it hybrid organic, because what I'm doing is a hybrid of paid traffic and organic traffic into one system, streaming book calls. So I started to teach this thing to my clients. And after me doing it myself, hitting that 120, 30, $40,000 in 5 days, I did it organically. So I taught it, and I had 3 millionaires come out of my program within 60 to 90 days. So it's funny because we hit the 2 Common Club. Majority of our $1 million in cash with this one funnel and this one offer came from the last 4 to 5 months of the 12 months, like in the last 4 to 5 months right now. And in that same 4 to 5 months that we had the majority of the cash come in, I also helped create like 4 different millionaires in my program. People that have reached that 7-figure mark by hitting over 6 figures in a month in sales. And so when we say our millionaires, I'm talking about people that get to over 100 grand a month. They are building a $1.2 million business consistently. So that's why we call them our millionaires, our 7-figure coaches. Now, let me tell you something. When you help other people get what they want, you always get what you want. So it's not a coincidence that in the journey of me hitting the goal I wanted, it was also the peak of how many people I helped hit their goals and crush their limiting beliefs. For April, May, again, I refocused on client upgrade. Like, I'm always getting my clients better stuff. And so we had, again, a low month. The last time our low months was 30 and 25 grand. This time our low months was over 100 grand. And so we collected over $100,000 2 months. And so I'm like, okay, it's not bad, but we should be growing, right? So then June came around and I upgraded brand new trainings and all this stuff for my clients. And I brought in new team members and all this stuff. And in June, I'm like, let me focus again on just marketing and sales. And we hit $250,000. So we beat our last biggest month. And so you can do the math. Most of the $1,000,000 that we crossed by August, just this past couple of weeks ago, came in the last like 90 to 120 days, which is insane to me because I looked at my Stripe and it was like this. Like literally, that's what it looked like. I'm like, man, it's pretty crazy to know that we ran $1,000,000 and like literally half of that came within a few months. That's pretty impressive to me. Because it's not like it was a gradual growth. It was like we figured something out. We found a secret, and it's like it exploded us. After we hit $250,000 in June, in July, I said, okay, you know what? We got to hit a $500,000 a month. And here's what's really what I'm proud about is in that month, I didn't do much. I removed myself from my businesses and I told my team, I trust you guys. You guys can do this on your own. I obviously did my marketing, what I have to do on my side as the face of the company, but my team took over to the entire operations. And that month we didn't hit $500,000. We hit $660,000, which was last month. And we blew past the $1,000,000 mark. We're scratching 2 million now just within 8 months into the year. So we're projected to hit $1,000,000 just this quarter and then another million next quarter. We're going to be past 3 million. So all of this happened so quickly. In that time, I was going inward more and spiritually, and I was traveling, meeting some really cool people. I got to meet amazing people like Ryan Blair, who built and sold the company of Visalis. They're doing $65 million a month, and he sold the company for $792 million. And I got to sit down, start walking with him, and go through his retreat. And she had a meeting with him just the other day, and we were looking at his processes in his company, and he was asking me for help on the sales and marketing side of things. And so right now I'm getting on calls with his team this week, and I'm doing it pro bono because a guy like him and a mentor like him is an honor just to talk with. And so I'm going the extra mile for him right now, helping him out with his company. And so I got to go inward and meet some cool people. And in the same process, my team developed leadership, leveled up. And that's when we paid out $100,000 in payroll to everyone on the team. This is not including me, by the way, just to my team. And so the more I get to give. The more you make, the more you give, the more impact you make. More clients of ours made more money. My team made more money. I made more money. It was such a win-win-win situation. So that was July. And it's funny because in August right now, we're having a slow month. And again, we call this normalization in my program and scaling at clients. It's when you take your floor and you make it your new ceiling, right? And sorry, you take your ceiling and you make it your new floor. So if 100K is a big deal to you, what you do is you normalize that with your mindset shift and with your results. You get 100 and you bring it down to floor. So 200 is your ceiling, but the floor is 100 again now. So every time you have a high, it's a new high. Every time you have a low, it's a new low. And so, like I told you, the first low we had was going from 34 grand to $0. Okay. The second low we had was going from 100 grand to 35,000. The third low we had was going from 200 down to 100,000. So 100,000 was our floor. Now we hit 660 grand and our floor is like 200 something, 250,000. We're at like 200. We're just about to touch 250 grand in sales this month. And I'm like, man, this is a bad month. I was sitting there. I'm like, don't be a dick. I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, don't be a dick. A lot of people don't make $250,000 in a year. When you're making this in a month with your team, like, stop, shut up. So it's everything. Perspective is everything. I sat there. I'm like, I'm so grateful that I worked this hard, came to a place with my team where having over $200,000 in cash collected is bad. I'm like, what a perspective shift. Now, some of you guys are listening. You're like, Armin, I haven't even hit 20 grand in a month yet. Maybe you're like, I haven't hit 100 grand yet. Maybe you haven't even closed a $2,000 client yet. It's fine. I'm talking about this works at every level. In the beginning, it was just hitting some type of sale. Then it's like hitting that 10K, then 30K, then 50, then 100. And so you climb this like a game. If you look at it like a game, it's easier to play and you'll win. So that's the story of how we hit it. You could do the math. I did the math myself. Majority of it came in the last 5 months, like 600,000 of the million. USD, by the way, in Canadian, we're at like 1.5, 1.6 in cash collected. In American, we're at like 1.1, 1.2, something like that. So, and this isn't counting all of our receivables and all that. It's just as cash collected. Like we have hundreds of thousands of the pipeline still that's owed to us to come in. So my point of this story is to tell you, first of all, success is not linear. It is definitely volatile. Number one. Number two, you got to have persistence and faith because there's so many times in my journey where I honestly thought, like, what if we're doing this wrong, all of it wrong? And let me just start from scratch, or let me change it up. Let me do this. Maybe the offer's wrong. Maybe the funnel's wrong. Maybe the organic's wrong. There's so many times I have many reasons to doubt, like, and I have valid reasons to doubt what I was doing, but I stick to the fundamental principle that if I don't stick with something long enough to give it time to work, then there is nothing will ever work. So even if I was doing it wrong to some degree, I'm like, I'm going to keep doing it wrong for 3 months at least until I figure out, okay, for sure this is wrong. Because what if it's just a timing thing? What if it's just my attitude? And so I'm like, I don't want to be that person that leaves the house in the car halfway through the journey where they're going. They go, oh wait, no, I don't want to go there, and then go back and then go back, and they just keep zigzagging and never actually get anywhere. Because that's scarier to me than failing, which is never reaching a destination. I've been there and it sucks. So with that being said, in the backstory of how we hit that 2 Common Club, and we filled out and everything, and they, by the way, they require proof. Like, I had to show them my bank account, my funnel, my Stripe account. I had to show them my clients, the process of how it works. I show them my email automation, everything in the back end, like how our company works. And they approved this within 3-4 days. It's funny because they take usually 2 weeks, and they got back to me in like 3-4 days. And so now next month in Funnel Hacking Live 2021, which is a huge convention they run, in Florida, I get to walk the stage with all the other people who hit it, and collect the plaque, the award for hitting $1 million in a certain period of time, and through a funnel with one offer, which is pretty cool. And I'm super grateful for that. Now I want to share with you guys the 5 keys to what helped me get to there. And hopefully it could help you guys as well. And if you guys are on that journey to 7 figures, if you're on that journey to get to that $1 million mark, or even $100,000 or 500, whatever it is, these 5 keys are going to help you. Okay. So here are the 5 keys that I picked up on my way to 7 figures. And I have the notes right here. So I'm going to read them and go deeper into them. So key number one is your level of certainty in yourself, your offer, your ability to help your clients is the make or break of your success. I'm not just saying that because of personal experience. I'm saying that because I work with hundreds of different people. And in the process of me not only fixing my offer up and scaling it, but also helping a lot of other coaches do that, I've noticed that the consistent pattern of failure amongst the ones who do fail or do struggle are the lack of certainty in something. Their lack of certainty in themselves, being able to produce results, or themselves being able to hold it down when they get the success. The lack of certainty in their offer, that it actually is worth what they're charging, that it is a good offer, that it is going to get results for people, and it is important for the person to buy. The lack of certainty in their ability to get results for their clients, even if they got results for themselves. And can I help this person do it? What if I can't? So it's always this lack of this uncertainty that causes them to like create limiting beliefs and hesitate. And so because of that, they never reach a deep zone of genius when they're working. They never get to that like zoned in and just working hard because they have so much resistance inside of themselves. And so there's easy ways to fix this. Obviously, you need coaching for this. It's not like a course. If it was just information that could change this problem, then everyone would be rich because everyone has this problem. But it's really about working with someone that can make you believe, you can borrow the confidence from someone who already has it. And so a lot of my clients, they get pretty much a shortcut to this stuff because when they get on calls with me and my team, they're borrowing our confidence and borrowing our certainty in their ability for this to work and our ability to help them make it work, because we've seen it happen time and time again, and we have the confidence. But in the beginning, if you don't have that money or that person to invest into, then you need to start to do whatever it takes to get yourself to build that certainty. And part of that is like going the extra mile, like working for free, coaching for free until you have so many results. You're like, of course I'm good at this. Of course people should pay me for this. And that's one way you can hack your confidence and your certainty in advance. I mean, if you're really, really good with your mind, then you can sit there and visualize yourself and really make yourself believe that you are going to have and just have sheer faith, which is evidence, no evidence, but you believe it anyways, which is how I started my seminar business. So it's possible. It's just harder. Okay. Good point one, 100%. So lack of certainty, okay, is a big bottleneck towards hitting 7 figures. So your level of certainty is the make or break of your success. When I'm talking about certainty in yourself, and your offer, in your team, in your market, in your process, in your everything, you need to believe in it. If you don't, your prospects will smell it from a mile away. They won't pay you. So there's like people I know that will go on call with a coach that is like 95% certain, and they'll lose that client to the person who's 110% certain. It's the same exact offer. They pay the same exact amount of money, if not more, to the other person. So it's not that the market is not willing to pay you. It's not that the prospect isn't willing to close. It's not anyone else's fault. It's your fault. It's your fault if someone doesn't pay you money. It's your fault if they can't make up their mind on the phone. It's your fault if they don't book a call, because your certainty behind what you're doing and your offer and the value of it is not there. So that's key number one. I realized if you have certainty, you will make it work. And even with a bad process and a bad strategy, with a high level of certainty in your offer and yourself, you can close sales because people will feel that and go, okay, if I pay this person money, I'm going to get my results. Key number 2, okay, the methods and tactics come and go, but leadership will always be consistent. If you give the right formula to the wrong mind, they'll always mess it up. If you give the wrong formula to the right mind, they'll always figure it out. And what I mean by that is, I remember when I did my first $250,000 in sales while doing ads with webinars. So $250,000 of the million was just from webinars. The other 750, 800, 900,000 now is all organic. So it's not that one is better than the other. It doesn't. I just went harder in organic because I realized it was easier to scale. It was easier for me to do. Maybe some people think it's better to just run an ad. And I mean, if you can figure out all the kinks to it working, let me know. Okay. Because the best agency in the industry couldn't even do it for me. But they both work and they both were good strategies. When I came into the online world, everyone's about ads and webinars and funnels. And then I got introduced to a whole nother world. Everyone's about organic. And then there's people that are like on Clubhouse, and then there's people on YouTube, and there's people always telling you how to do something, is what my point is. These will come and go. In fact, they all work. That's the secret. They all work. Maybe some of them are better than the other, obviously from just logistics, like it's easier to scale, it's faster, it's better, whatever. But it doesn't mean none of them will, that all of them will not work. It means they all will work. So that doesn't matter though. That's not what gets you success. That's not what gets you 7 figures. That might get you to 6 figures because you can switch up your methods until you hit one and you hit 50 to 100 grand in sales. But it's not what's going to scale you to 7. Because to do $1 million, think about it, you got to do $100,000 10 times over, 10 times over. Think about that. So if it took you a long time or a hard amount of work to get to 6 figures, imagine you got to do it 10 times over and over and over and over and over again to hit $1 million. And now imagine if you want to hit 10 million, you got to do 100 times 6-figure months. Okay. 100 times that amount of work. So that's a multiple amount of work and strategy and all this stuff. At some point to reach over $1 million, it's not about more work or more doing. Real leverage and results come from you doing less and only more of the things that matter. I'm going to say that again. At some point, making millions of dollars is not about working harder, doing more. It's about doing less, but only more of the things that matter the most. For that reason, trying to switch up methods and tactics and strategies, you guys are always trying to find, like, I know so many people, even in my program, that are doing maybe 50 to 100 grand in sales already. And they're still asking me questions about marketing. I get it. But first of all, if you got to 100 grand doing one form of marketing, just keep doing that and better. Don't switch it up. Like, it's not like a threshold, like, oh, I got to 100 grand a month with Facebook ads, and now I got to go to YouTube ads to get to 500 grand a month. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You got to stop that. I got to 100 grand a month with organic. Now I got to start doing ads to get to 300 grand a month. It's not true. All of them, if you just did it more and better and more of it, you would get to the next level of sales. You would. And so it's only very rarely, very specific situations where maybe the offer is better on YouTube or better on this because your audience might be there. But that's a very slight variable. Majority of it is the fact that marketing is about getting the attention of your market about your offer. That's it. Getting the attention of your market about your offer. It doesn't matter where and how you do it. Just if your ability to do that well has nothing to do with the platform you use. It doesn't matter if it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, LinkedIn. It doesn't matter. You, the person executing the strategy is what matters. Because let me give you an example. Do we all know someone that's probably on LinkedIn that's crushing it? I know someone that's crushing on LinkedIn. Do we also know people on LinkedIn that are sucking? Yeah. LinkedIn is the same exact platform for both of them, but one of them suck and one of them are good. Do we know a lot of people crushing at Facebook ads? I know tons of people. Do we know people that suck at Facebook ads getting no results? Yeah, I do. But Facebook ads isn't the problem. It's the person. So we all know we can find people that suck and are amazing in every platform, every method, every tactic, every offer. So it's not about what we're doing. It's a very small part of it. It's like 10% of it, the strategy, and make sure you're doing it right. Obviously, we fix those things in my program. Like, we look at, like, the micros, like, yo, you're just doing this wrong, this. But after and I fixed so many people's like little things, still results don't come. And I go, well, at this point, it's you. Like, it's not this anymore, to you. And so my second key to is this: that methods and tactics come and go, but leadership is always consistent. Your ability to lead yourself, self-management, control your mind, guide your emotions while you do all these different tactics and methods is what's more important than the method itself. You understand what I'm saying? So when people buy my program, they're not just buying because our marketing method works better. I don't care about the method. We have a really good organic method called hyper organic. We also have ads training for scaling with ads too. We give that. We even show you how to build a webinar. Most programs don't have all that stuff in one place. They'll charge you extra amounts to get different things. But I will tell you that even with all this $1 million systems in front of my clients' members area, it's not about that. The ones who do the best are the ones I know work harder on themselves than they do on their business. So that's key number 2. Key number 3, okay, focus only on what matters. Focus only on what matters. I caught myself when I was going to my journey to 7 figures, majoring in minor things and distracting my mind with irrelevant things in my business, okay? So your ability to say no to everything except what you need to do to move the needle is critical in your business. Here's a good example. I literally just got a message this morning from one of my elite clients, and they're newer in the business and they're newer in my program. They just signed up, and they messaged me to say, "Hey, is the color scheme to my posts on my social media important for me to figure out to keep it consistent? Does it make a difference if the color scheme is good?" I said, "It makes zero difference." They go, "Really?" Because the social media manager I'm working with is always upset that I'm not keeping the color scheme consistent. I said, "How much money does a social media manager make selling coaching online?" And the person said, well, not much. I said, "So always listen to people that have what you want and have been where you've been. You're taking advice. First of all, you're letting someone who's not an expert in business fill your mind up and busy your mind with a bunch of nonsense about social media color scheme. Like, it doesn't matter." And by the way, I used to be a victim of that. I did this stuff myself back then. I used to be like, "Oh, I need everything to be perfect this way." And it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These things don't matter. Like, most things that you think matter in your business don't actually matter. It's crazy actually how much people major minor things. So I told the person, I'm like, "Look, just focus on what I teach in the program. Okay, accept your offer, validate it, get out there and start selling your beta, do our organic marketing, book some calls, close some sales. Your ability to make 100 grand in a month is a matter of numbers. It's just a matter of numbers. How many sales do you need at the price point you have? How many calls do you need to get at your closing ratio to hit that many sales? How many leads do you need to, how many conversations do you need to have to book that many calls to get that many sales? And how many leads you need to get from your organic or paid stuff to get that many conversations going?" That's it. That's it. I remember when we started the session, my first session with my client, one-on-one. And in Elite, I do one-on-ones with everyone. I was creating her battle plan for the next 90 days. And she says, "Well, I can't fathom $100,000 in a month." I'm like, "I know, but by the end of the session, you could, because I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like." She goes, "Okay." So by the end of the session, she looks at it, she's like, "Oh my God, this seems realistic." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a huge part of why you invest into this program, because I make unrealistic things look realistic, because I show you the practical, because I've done it. I show you exactly what it looks like. So you don't have to think it's a dream anymore. It's actually a practical plan." So she was getting caught up with other people's opinions about what matters, and it doesn't matter at all. Like, it literally does not matter. What does matter? Focus on only things that matter in your business is critical, and say no to everything else. The only things that matter is things that move the needle. Think of it like this. If your goal is to hit $1 million, you got to ask yourself, so what's the only thing that moves the needle to hit the million? Well, I got to make sales. Okay. To make sales, what's the only thing that moves the needle for me to make more sales? To book more calls, to have more calls. Okay. To have more calls, what's the only needle that I need to move to get more calls coming in? Well, I got to talk to more people, right? I got to have more leads and more conversations, because the more exposure I have, the more chance I have to book calls with people. If you're doing organic, like a call center. If you're doing ads, you got to spend more money on ads, right? So it's like both is the same thing. You got to spend more money on ads to get leads to come in to get more calls. Okay, so what do I need to do right now to make sure I can do that so I can book more calls and close more sales and hit the $1 million? You should be focused on. Yeah, whatever that is, whatever that is. If something's bottlenecking you because your program's not done yet, fix the program. If you know somebody's getting in the way of you being able to have more conversations, fix that. If you're just not putting in the time to have conversations or get leads, do that. And so everything else does not matter. It doesn't matter for you to have a website. I still don't have a website. We're just building one now. And we've done $2 million in sales at this point in general in my business so far. So I still don't have a website that I actually use, right? I just had one funnel landing page and boom. And if I didn't have that, I had my Facebook group that I send people to. So you got to just focus on what matters. And what matters is your ability to get conversations going, book calls, and close sales. And then your ability to get past 100 grand is how well you can train others to take over these parts in your business. Okay. I hope this is useful so far. If it's useful, let me know. Drop some emojis in the chat for me. Drop some fire emojis in the chat. If you have any questions, let me know. Just put it in the chat and I'll answer them. We got 2 more keys to go. So key number 1 was your certainty in yourself and your ability to help your clients in your offer. Your certainty level is a make or break of your success. Key number 2 is that your methods and tactics will come, but leadership is always consistent. You have to always make sure you show up full effect, in state, in focus. For you to make any method or tactic work, it's not method or tactics that make you successful. It's you executing them. Third key is that you can't, right here, focus on only what matters. Stop majoring in minor things. Only focus on things that move the needle for you to get more sales in your business. That's it. And most of the time, the things you think you need to make more sales or to even make sales to begin with is not what you need. You can start with nothing. You can start without a webinar, without a homework video, without a funnel, without a website. You can even start without a program being done. You could just have an outline for what you're going to do with them and go and sell that for $5 grand. You can. I've done it. My clients have done it. But it's getting out there and getting conversations going to book calls to make sales is what's important. See, I have clients that come in and like within their first 40 days, they'll do over $100,000. I have a client, Christina, just did 56,000 literally within 14 days. Isa, he's at like almost probably 170, 80 grand now. He's only been in my program for 60 days. But then I also have clients who've been in my program for like months and months and months. And they like, I'm going to give a shout out to Nico right now, because Nico joined my program last year when I was given lifetime access. So he's been in my program for like 8 or 9 months now. And the guy's been struggling with lots of different things in his personal life, from getting out of a corporate job, changing his mindset, learning business for the first time. It took him 8 or 9 months, and he landed his first $3,000 client, 3,000 pounds, British pounds client, just last week. And to me, I'm like, it's a huge win. And you just went from corporate your whole life to doing this brand new thing, having to learn all this business, getting out there, doing something you've never done before. It took him 8 or 9 months for him to actualize himself to the person he has to be, and to put into effect the things long enough and persistently enough. And boom, he had his first $3,000 client, beta client. So now it's just the beginning for him. And again, the first 3-4 months of that 8 months, he was just wasting time. We had to have a hard talk. And so in the last 5 months, 4 to 5 months, he's really put the foot to the pedal, and it took him longer than other people. So my point is that, like, and I'm not ashamed to say that, by the way, not everything's butterflies and rainbows. Like, shit's hard. Like, I have clients in my program right now that have been part of it for a while and still aren't getting results. And that's a part of everything. Okay. And again, it's because most people that join a business program need a personal development program. I'm just being real with you. Okay. And so I give that in my program, but they didn't come there for that. And so even though they paid a lot of money to learn business, they're unwilling and unopen to learn the leadership stuff that I think will make them real money. And so for that reason, they take their old way of thinking and apply it to new ways of business, and it doesn't work. And they're not willing to put in the work to learn to change themselves. So they just get stuck between these two. And that's not my fault. That's not my fault. If you give the cure to cancer to a person with cancer, you put it in their hand, but they don't want to take it, that's not your fault. Okay. You did your part. You put it in their hand. It's easy for them now. If they don't want to take it, that's not your fault. They die because of that. That's not your fault. So yes, I do have clients that pay us lots of money and they come in and they still don't get results. Most of my clients in Elite, though, they all get results. Everyone makes money. There's people that never have made money ever with any other program. They've dropped tens and tens of thousands of dollars. They'll drop the investment for my Elite and they literally make money for the first time. I had a client of mine, Karen. She was in multiple different masterminds, dropped close to 50 grand, and literally made no money over a course of a year or a year and a half. Joined my Elite. First couple of months, we did a lot of like therapeutic coaching, personal transformation stuff. She changed her personal life around. And in her 3rd month in my Elite, she closed 3 $2,000 clients, and she closed a $30,000 client. So she made 36 grand, recuperated most of her investment at the time, and she made money. And so it's like and a lot of my clients come in. We have, millionaires come into that Elite program and they'll close their first $10,000 or $20,000 clients, and they've never sold coaching before. And then we have, again, people come in and they reach 100, 200 grand a month, consistently build a company out. And so very few people in my Elite at the highest price point of my offer I sell lack results. And it's because I think at that level, you can't mess around, and the person is ready to actually go all in to change themselves too. But at my lower price point, my SGC program, which gives them all the $1 million systems I have, by the way, there is a lack of skin in the game. Even for some people, it's like a lot of money. It's still not enough for them to open themselves up and go, I need to change the way I do things in life. Because let's be honest, guys, poverty is not genetic, it's learned, right? We grew up in an environment where we believe things that make us poor. I grew up in that same environment, and most of you did. And so my ability to make more money or change my life financially and physically and spiritually was not in my ability to work harder on something. It was my ability to work harder on myself. It wasn't a job that changed my life. It wasn't a business. It was me. I was my own project. I was my job. Going deeper into myself, thinking about what do I think? Why do I think that? Where did that come from? Do I even want to think that? Is that going to help me make money? I remember I used to have a bad idea about successful people. I'm like, they're just lucky. I'm just like not like them. There's something, they have something I don't. And I used to think that because my family was like that. They used to think rich people were like this. They're lucky. They got a handout. Are they selling drugs on the side? Like literally my family thought like millionaires are usually illegal people. And so I grew up around this shitty ass environment. And here I am. I'm like, I want to be a millionaire when I grow up. I want to be rich. And I'm thinking that to be that person, I gotta be a terrible person. So these are things that are embedded in our unconscious mind. And so if you take that with you into your own business, you're never going to succeed. Like it doesn't matter how much I help you. I can literally do it for you. I've had some clients, literally, I would write their post for them. I'd write their ad for them. I'd write it. They would go out and make a bunch of money and then they would dwindle out. And then they would come over, like, I need your help again. I'm like, why? Did you not learn from me doing the last time with you? Oh, no, I tried it, but every time you do it, it works. Every time I do it, it doesn't work. Same exact thing, by the way. What kind of phenomenon is that? It's because the person who executes it is the problem, not the method. You guys understand? So those are the 3 keys. 4th key, got to run. We got to rock and roll. By the way, Hannah, what's going on? Yeah, happy for Nicole and Oscar. Love you, bro. See you on the coach call. No problem, bro. Yep, today's Monday, so we do a coach call with SGC clients. All right, let's go into the last 2 keys. Very important. 4th key I picked up on during your 7 figures. You can't do it alone. You can't get to 7 figures. You might get to 6 figures alone. You will never get 7 figures alone. I mean, if you do, your life will be hell. There's no way you can't even manage 7 figures on your own. It's not going to happen. A mentor of mine once told me that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So hitting $1 million is definitely not a sprint. Okay, it's a marathon. And in the beginning, I realized that I was hoping it would be a sprint. I was hoping I could do it within a matter of months because I heard all these crazy stories of people doing it. For that reason, I tried to do everything myself. Because I'm like, I can do it fast. So my attitude as a leader was not that to build a team to go far. It was that to build myself to go fast. For that reason, I burnt out a lot and I hit a lot of roadblocks. But my wisdom was understanding that the greatest things in life take time and a great team to achieve it. See, if I plant a pumpkin seed in the soil, it only takes 3 months to grow. But if I plant, I think it's an acorn, you gotta learn more about nature. But a seed, an oak tree seed. I know it's not called an oak tree seed. I think it's called an acorn. I'll find out. I read it somewhere. If I plant an oak tree seed, it takes 30 years to grow. So you have to understand that depending on the size of your goal, there's more time it takes. It does. It's just nature. Like a tree's going to take longer than a plant. If you want to make $1 million, it's going to take you longer than 6 figures. 100 grand, $1 million is 10 times again, right? Doesn't mean it's 10 times longer. It just means it's going to be longer, right? And so because of the size of the goal, your requirement, the cost of it, what it takes is going to be more. But I think a lot of people want to hit $1 million, but they want to work as hard as a 6-figure person or even work like less. And so that's why they never get it. But most people that think like that want to do things alone. If you want to get to here, you got to understand it takes time. And the reason it takes time is because you got to build people along the way to help you. And so there was months where I was just working heavily on my team, like building their skill sets up, building their belief in themselves up, and all this stuff to work to handle part of the business I couldn't do alone. That took time and that costed money because I wasn't out there making sales. I was doing something else that could set me up to make more sales in the future. So if you want to get 7 figures without dying, by the way, and breaking down, because if you can somehow do it on your own, great, good for you. And coaching, at least selling coaching programs, but I don't think you're going to maintain it. Like again, we cross 7 figures. We're doing multiple 7 now because we're doing multiple 6 figures a month, and it's lingering there and it's growing steadily because I have a team. If I just did that in 1 month, I would burn out the next month. Remember, like a flash in the pan is just what it is. It comes and goes really quickly. Aim to be like lava that's always burning. Aim to be like a massive bonfire. So it lasts a very long time instead of a flash in the pan or just like a little match. Because that's what fast little successes are. I'm not interested in acquiring wealth quickly. Too much money too fast is actually a bad thing. There's a lack of wisdom in it. If you read Think and Grow Rich, there's a lot of consequences that come with making too much money too quickly. And so even though you make a lot of money, you lose out on a lot of experience and wisdom and stability and composure, self-control. There's a spiritual cost to making too much money too quickly. A lot of people's lives go downhill when they do make too much money too quickly. They'll make a company, they'll sell it, they'll make millions of dollars, and they sit there depressed. Okay. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in building myself up, building up my wealth at the same time. I want to make sure I'm always bigger than the size of the money in my account. Most people are like this. They're trying to make more money in their account that's always a size bigger than who they are. And that's why they never get there. They just linger between these two because they grow a little and then they make more money, more than they can handle, and they grow a little and they just kind of zigzag. I'm like, no, man, I'm going to work hard on myself and the money's going to catch up. And that's how you create wealth, long-term wealth, not just get rich. So fourth key is that you can't do it alone. You need a great team to achieve great things. And the last fifth key is prioritize peace of mind over money. Now, if you guys know me at all in my program, you guys know I preach Napoleon Hill. I'm a student of it. I work with the president of Think and Grow Rich teaching it. And I'm going to tell you something, man, there is no point to any of this if you have no peace of mind at the end of your goal. My mentor taught me, starting point of all achievement is desire. The ending point is peace of mind. And we used to think that the starting point of all achievement is desire. The ending point, the finishing point is achieving that desire, right? Having the result. But no, if you get the result without peace of mind, you know what happens? You're miserable, you're a loser, you're a failure anyways. So if you make $1 million and you have no relationships, no health, no happiness with yourself, you really think the $1 million in your account is going to make you happier? Not at all. It's going to make it worse, actually, because you're going to have this convoluted idea of who you are as a person, but you don't feel that. So what's happening is you feel miserable. You feel like an imposter. Like, I have all this money, man, but I don't feel good about who I am. So number 5 is prioritize peace of mind over money. The feeling of achievement lasted maybe a few hours for me when I saw the email from the 2 Comma Club come in. But I quickly remembered what my mentor taught me years ago. And it was about getting caught up in the game of success. See, if you attach your identity to what you do or what you achieve, then if that thing ever fails or disappears, you will lose yourself. Let me say that again. If I attach who I am as a person and what I think about myself to what I do, like I'm an online business coach, or I'm a leadership coach, or I identify myself with what I've achieved. Like, I've made $1 million. I'm a millionaire. That's what I do. Like, that's for marketing. For inside myself, I'm like, I'm a millionaire. That's why I'm great. First of all, when I meet others who aren't, I just think I'm better than them. Creates an egotistical perspective. But in the middle of something, you're going to be shown in the back if you walk by. This is like a physical. Yeah, they're going to see it. Hold on a second. Sharing a room with a friend, guys. Hold on. There you go. You're good now. So sorry, 1 second. So I realized this and I'm like, you good? Yeah, you're good. Okay. So I realized that I'm like, man, if I associate myself with what I have or what I do, I'm going to be in a really bad place if I ever lose that thing or if that thing is jeopardized or criticized. So I remember my clients sometimes will be like, oh, we just had a bad month. And they'll be like low about themselves. I'm like, listen to me. I'm like, when I had no sales months, I was still the same person. I was still committed, faithful, excited. I'm like, you can't let your results dictate how you feel and look at yourself in the world, because then you're not going to last. You're going to burn out real quickly. And so I learned that long ago. I decided that I'm going to decide what I stand for and who I am, regardless of my achievements of what I do. And that's kept me inspired and peaceful along the entire way. And so what I mean by that, and to finish this off, is I'm like, okay, what is Armin about? What is Armin about? Armin's about Think and Grow Rich. Armin's about leadership. Armin's about faith, love, compassion for each other. Armin's about making the impossible possible. Armin's about possibility. These are things that I am. Armin's about family, integrity, doing the right things when no one's watching. Armin's about fun and humor and having a good time and smiling. Armin's about love and obsession with one's desires in life. These are things I am about, regardless of how much I'm making. If you're making less than me or more than me, it doesn't matter, because my character will like literally pierce through your soul. And it's not about me making money. It's funny because I talk to some friends that make a lot of money per month, and they still deal with a lot of self-identity issues. Like they don't feel that good, or they're bored, or they're depressed, or something like that. I'm like, it's because you think you're only as good as what you've done. You understand? So if you don't make more money next month, then you're failing. I'm like, I just made 1/3 of what I made last month, and I'm grateful. I'm fucking grateful, man. You guys got to chill. You have to step back and look at things with perspective. Okay. And I got some comments here, by the way. Hannah says, make sure we are bigger than the size of money in our accounts. Yes. All about long-term wealth. I love who I am becoming even more than income I am commanding. Yeah. One follows the other. Yeah. And Hannah, and see, that's what I'm talking about. Hannah got the point, Hannah Hannah loves who she's becoming more than the money she's making, and she just made $40,000 literally within a few weeks with us in Elite program. And so it's like, but the money in Elite, I want the culture to be like, money comes, who cares? Who are we becoming? What are we building? One of my clients, I'll finish off with this, Eric and Brian. They're now consistently having been hitting multiple six-figure months for the last 4 or 5 months. Ever since they joined Elite, actually, the lowest month has been 64 grand or 70 something. 1 month they were doing really low. They were only doing like 20, 30 grand. I'm like, man, why don't you do 100? And there was 10 days left to the month. And you know what I did? Hannah, I didn't even have an offer. She just closed 40 grand in sales. Didn't even have an offer done yet. Think about that. Yeah, that's what we do. We create magic here in our programs. So I was talking to them and I didn't give them a marketing piece of advice. I didn't give them a marketing strategy or this or that for them to hit. They finished that month with 101 grand in sales. It was their first 100K month. It was like 4 months ago, 3 months ago. I didn't have a talk about marketing or sales with them. You know what I had to talk with them about? Vision. I had to talk with them about vision, and I had to talk with them about who they want to become, why they're doing what they're doing. And that lit them up. Inside, they're like, man, we're thinking small. And as soon as they got off that call, within a week, they did 80 grand in new sales. They finished that month with $101,000. And that was literally within like 7 days of the last month. Kind of like similar to my 200K month story in 5 days in March. My point is, my goal when I work with clients is not to teach you marketing or sales. I mean, we have some of the greatest trainings, I think, in the industry. My goal is to infuse and transmute my leadership, the wisdom that I acquired from all this growth into you as a person. So you can take this and become a force of nature in your life and for others around you. So making $1 million is not about the $1 million. It's about who you become in the process. And that's really what I'm trying to tell you right now. And if you really want to do it, if you're serious about it, first of all, get someone who's done it to get their help. That's the fastest way to do it. You can trial and error, it'll just take you 3 to 4 times longer and probably cost you more money. So the irony is it'll cost less time and less money for you to get help. But I am telling you this, is that if you ever do consider working with me about it, just know I'm going to work harder on you than I am on your business. I had an elite client yesterday who wanted me to look over his webinar stories, his webinar principles. And instead, we spent the whole time, an hour and a half, talking about his personal relationship and why it's in a funk. And it's because I'm like, man, you can't do a great webinar, a live webinar, or launch, or anything if you're upset about your relationship. I'm like, you got to fix that first. So we deal with the real stuff here in my company. Like, we're not going to bullshit you. We're not going to take your money and go, hey, you're doing this wrong. You got to post this differently. Like, we're going to help you with that, but it's not what's going to make you successful. And it's not what's going to give you peace of mind and happiness at the end of it. Remember, the 50 keys, prioritize peace of mind over money. It's okay if you make a little less money, but just make sure your peace of mind is there. In other words, don't cost your peace of mind to make more money. It makes no sense. It's stupid. It's like being willing to break down your car in order to get more gas. Doesn't make any sense. The gas is for the car to drive. The car cannot be driven because you're breaking it down. Then there's no point to the gas. No point to the money in your bank account if you're breaking down in your life. If you don't take care of your vehicle, you're not just your body physically. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about spiritually, mentally, emotionally, your relationships. You don't take that stuff seriously. There's no car to put gas into anymore. And there's no bank account for you to put money into. And I said, Amandeep, then you need to watch this. Armin is real deal. No, Amandeep's already in, Hannah. We had a great talk. We did our one-on-one battle session just yesterday. So I hope everyone's enjoyed this live, this training. I really did want to put my soul and my heart into this so that everyone can understand. I had one goal when I set out to hit 7 figures in my company, and it wasn't to make the money. I honestly don't care about the money. I'm being very real with you. Like, I have barely spent any of the money I've made. It's just sitting in my account. I've just paid my team a lot of money. Like, I'm like living off like affiliate commissions on the side. Like, just so you guys know personally, like I don't even pay myself much from the company. I don't need to. I wear the same shit every guys. It's the same black t-shirt I wear every day. The same jeans I wear every day. I wash it obviously, but I'm saying I wear the same clothes. This is a gift from a client from years ago. It's a Hugo Boss watch. I don't buy like fancy stuff. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but all my money stays either in the business or it goes back into the people. For the reason I'm telling you, like I'm able to live off like affiliate commissions off the side. Like I have people that I refer people doing whatever, and that alone pays for my travel, my this, my that. I'm good. So when I tell you money doesn't matter to me, it's important, and I would love making money. I don't love money. I love making money because who I become in the process. It makes me like a game. I love games. but it's not about the money for me. It's about like who I become in the process and who I help people become. So my peace of mind is more important. And it's funny because when I focus on quality instead of quantity, my quantity goes up in sales. My quantity in money goes up. My quality, though, is what I focus on. Quality of my clients, quality of myself, quality of my life. Man, I feel good, man. I hope this touched someone's heart today. I just want to share this with you guys. The 5 keys is not about anything about business or marketing. It's about you. Like making $1 million is not about business. It's about leadership and people. And And look, it could be about business. It could be that you make it depends on how you make it, right? Some people make $1 million just from trading stocks or whatever, doing some real estate deals. Like you never impact any lives in the making. To me, I'm like, that's empty millions. I want to make fulfilled millions, fulfilled millions. The way I make my millions is by helping people's lives change. I love that. Like I don't want to make my money just to make the money. Cause again, I have no need for the money itself. If I had a very fragile ego and I need to buy a lot of expensive things and do things to make myself feel good, maybe I'll do anything to make that million just so I can spend it. But because that's not my motive is to build something that I'm excited about and I love and who I become. I don't even care how long the millions take to make. I just care that I have fun while I'm doing it. But I'm going to tell you something just to end this off. I had one goal when I set out to hit my 7-figure goal 2 years ago. And I saw a lot of people in the industry that make millions of dollars that people look up to. I saw a lot of people. And I noticed that these people lacked a lot of integrity, lacked a lot of character, they were a bad example of who to be as a person with that kind of wealth and power. And I set out with one mission. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get rich. I'm gonna hit the multiple millions like these guys do and these girls do. But when I get there, I'm gonna set up a stance for what this should look like. I'm gonna become an example of leadership. And so for me, it was about reaching this point in business so that I get a lot of people's attention. I'm just being real with you guys. To me, I had two options. I could start to try to force my way into the market as a leadership expert and as a psychology person to help you guys improve your lives. I'm like, but then I got to compete with everybody in the world who does that. I'm like, or I could just make a few $1 million, get everyone's attention in the business world, and then just tell them mindset stuff, leadership stuff. And I'm like, you know what? It's probably easier to make a few $1 million than it is to try to outdo a Bob Proctor or Tony Robbins in mindset development. Because if you have a few $1 million, a lot of people who don't have that millions of dollars, they'll listen to you about how you think and what you did to get there. And so if I tell you now that I'm at the multi-million stage, if I tell you the way I did it was through leadership, then maybe a handful of you will be like, okay, I should focus on leadership then. But if I was only making half that amount of money, like $500,000, it's still impressive. But if you didn't know that, then I told you leadership is what is made me happy in life. I'm like, yeah, it's nice. But let me listen to that guy who made $10 million, right? Because he made 10 million. So he knows what he's doing. So to me, I'm like, my entire outcome was, okay, it's probably easier to just become a millionaire so I can teach people what their life should look like in order to become a millionaire. My point is I realized what people were looking for. I'm like, let me just give that and I'll give them what they need when they come in. So here I am talking about 5 keys to 7 figures. None of it has to do with marketing, sales, or anything like that. And hopefully this is a refreshing training for you, because most people out there will tell you some other tactic or something that's going to make you run in another circle of trying to figure something out into thinking it doesn't work because you're not working it well. So, what millionaire is to me? It's about leadership. It's about impact. It's not about the million. Jim said it right. Don't set a goal to make a million. Set a goal to become a millionaire. You become that person sometimes before you make the million. And that's what I feel like I did. And so if you guys are interested in more in like leadership work, if you want to scale your company with the marketing stuff and all that stuff, but also in a way where you feel good about what you built and you feel good about yourself and you make a difference, and then we're fit to work together. And I'm looking for serious coaches that I can work with like this. And so if you're not like this and you're just hoping like, Armin, that's great, nice motivational stuff. Ooh, well, what's your organic process like? Then, it's fine. You can buy my core offer, but if you want to do elite with me one-on-one, I'm not working with you until you understand the value of growing yourself, because I'm tired of trying to convince people, that they need to work on themselves harder than they do in their business. I'm tired of convincing people. So I don't want people in my elite program that I need to convince. I want people in my elite program that already are convinced. Okay, that's who I want to work with. And again, you can take my SGC program. It's fair price for the kind of results we're getting people. I'm going to get all the $1 million systems. You get literally everything from scratch, how to upgrade yourself, develop high performance habits, organize your time so you can scale your company, how to create that offer that's high ticket 5 to 25K, how to actually go out there and do our hyper organic marketing system, book calls on a daily basis, how to close sales using our state of the art sales training and strategies. Now, by the way, I'm teaching those sales strategies to a 9-figure entrepreneur's company and sales team. A guy worth $800 million is getting me to train their sales team with our sales training stuff. So our sales strategy and our philosophy for selling is second to none. Just letting you guys know that. And then we show you how to set up your Facebook group, all this stuff, and launch ads, and then grow your list with ads, and create a webinar eventually, and make bulk of money. Like, we'll show you all that stuff. You buy the program, you get all the systems. You want to change your life, make a difference in this world, Elite is for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I love you guys lots. We go live every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern time inside the Facebook group, High Ticket Coaching Community. If you're on YouTube and you love this video, then please, for the love of God, hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell. If you're on Facebook, drop down your number one takeaway from today's live. I want to be able to answer your questions as well. You can post it down if you want. I'll get back to it later. More stuff coming, more amazing things coming into this group. We love you so much. If you want your questions answered, by the way, live on the show, we take question submissions at askarmin.com. And obviously, if you want to talk to us about working with us, then go ahead and book a call using the link provided either in this video, below this video, around this video, or you can just go to highticketcoaching.com/breakthrough. And you can book your call and you can talk to us. So love you guys so much. I'll see you guys next Monday. Go on and make the rest of your week the best of your week.